Eze. Thanks for taking some time with us today. The purpose of this is basically just to kind of talk about our partnership, but to learn more about High Auto and how you guys got to where you're at today, and what the future holds. We get to work with a lot of exciting technologies on a regular basis, and work with a lot of great QSR brands. And working with you guys on the Checkers Rallies project to this date has been great. We're big fans of the Checkers Rallies brand and enjoy working with them, and are really excited to be part of this project and build a relationship with you guys beyond that brand. But just want to open some conversation, pretty candid, and have a great dialogue. So, first question here is, I guess you want to both introduce yourselves and what your role is with High Auto.
Uh, Thank you, Ryan, for having us, and thank you for this great partnership. I'm Roy Baharav. I'm the CEO of High Auto, and glad to talk about what we're doing and how we are partnering.
Yeah, so I'm Eze Fiszerman, and my role is head of customer success and delivery at High Auto. And yeah, likewise, very excited about having a conversation about what we're doing together.
Yeah, it's really great. And like I said, we work with a lot of technologies, and we're fortunate to do that. And what this technology is doing is incredibly exciting. It's cutting edge. It's solving a lot of problems that we see on a daily basis with our QSR partners. So kind of want to get into the evolution and how you guys got to where you're at today. So could you guys both give a few words on, who is High Auto, and, talk about what your technology does and the problems that it solves?
Excellent. I can maybe give a little bit of a background on our vision, and we are looking at the great digital transformation that restaurants are going through, and we see voice as playing a very significant part in this revolution. And what we're building is a voice assistant that connects employees, managers, guests to the data, to the devices, and to automations. And this assistant is going to help with a lot of things in the future. But right now, it starts with something very simple, which is order taking. And we're doing a drive-through order taking as a service. When you drive to a store, to a QSR store, and you order, typically there is a person in the restaurant, in the kitchen, that is wearing a headset and is taking your order. We are replacing that person with an automated voice AI solution.
Perfect. Yeah, that's great. Eze, do you have anything to add to that?
Roy's the founder; he really gets the vision. So nothing I can add on this front.
Yeah. So you guys talked a little bit about the vision and everything. What was your guys' aha moment? What was the foundation behind this? What led you to this? Like, where did this all start? Tell me a little bit. I mean, obviously you guys had the vision. Where did the vision come from? Was there experience, something that said, "Hey, this is where we want to take this"?
I think the way we'll divide this is that I can talk more about, like, the vision and some of our rationale in coming up with this direction, and then I think Eze has been building this amazing delivery machine and serving our customers well, and he can talk about and working on this with you guys with CUSI. So I think he can talk to those subjects much better than me. And so just to, like, maybe organize this a little bit. So back to the question of when, like, what did we understand? What made us choose this direction? And I think we saw a few things. So actually, High Auto started initially with building a voice assistant for the automotive space, focusing on very noisy environments, and we built a deep tech technology for that area. At some point, we realized that something is happening at the restaurant space. Specifically, what we have noticed is that there is ongoing concerns around consistency of service and how to get to operational consistency that is tied to revenue. And that because it's kind of a production line under a lot of pressure, what happens is that many times you see a lot of turnover because it's hard for people to work under this environment, and so there is a lot of turnover, and as a result it hurts consistency. As a result, there is again higher pressure on those people that stay, and it's a vicious cycle. And so we knew that QSRs, based on conversations with them, are interested in automating parts of those things. And then the other piece that we started realizing is that there is this ongoing labor crisis, that not only that there is a consistency problem, but actually now it's very hard to find employees, and that problem obviously got very severe during COVID. And I think these two things, plus the fact that we saw a very good fit between what our experiences and our knowledge and our operational capabilities, what those are in comparison with this very tough technological operational problem that needs to be addressed. And we felt like we can actually take a leading position in this market.
Yeah, that's great. I guess as you guys have deployed, I mean, we've been a part of that deployment in a lot of areas. What's some of the feedback you're getting from some of the end users, rallies checkers, or whoever it happens to be, of why they're enjoying this technology and utilizing this and continue to deploy it over more and more sites? What kind of feedback are you getting from your partners?
Yeah, I think that in general it's really good feedback. We are getting great response. That it's also helping as well and fueling our growth as a company. Um, in general, it's there's a lot of excitement around the possibilities that technology can do to ease operations. Let's not forget that when we started about 2 years ago with the whole Corona crisis, a lot of these locations and restaurants, the industry in general, it was beaten. I mean, it had to adapt to a lot of regulations, to a lot of new problems that suddenly showed up, and suddenly this solution, our solution, is really able to resolve some of these pain points. Now we're now kind of, you could say that we're coming out of the Corona, but then there's all sorts of other problems that show up, like we're going to talk about inflation and whatnot. So our solution suddenly it's something exciting. It's technology that can help every operator to address concrete pain points on how they are being operating their restaurants. So the response has been really good, and we're happy about that.
Yeah, maybe just to build on what Eze has been saying. I think specifically what we are hearing is that it helps alleviate some of the labor issues. So you know that it's easier to open and close the restaurant. You know that you're going to have coverage for your graveyard shifts and in the morning, and it's less turnover. So from that's one area. The second area that there is a lot of excitement around is the upselling. We are hearing from customers that are looking at like a franchisee that hears that another franchisee is now doing 5x upselling, and they want to see how they can get the system deployed. And I think it's also about consistency. And while we are far from perfect and we have a lot of things still to work on and we are working on, and there is significant growing pain, I think we hear from many franchisees and customers that the system pays for itself after a week worth of work in 1 month. So that's also very encouraging to hear.
Yeah, that's awesome. And restaurants work on very thin margins, so any way they can get more outputs, and there's not people to always put these outputs out right now. So there's challenges there. And you mentioned the upselling and everything. And I think a lot of the value that we're seeing and what we've experienced is you talk about that upselling, but maybe the worker's having a bad day and they forget to suggest, the mozzarella sticks or whatever it happens to be to go with that. So there's a ton of value there. As you talk about, there still is, to the operational side of this, there's still a human component and there's people engaging with this. Can you tell me, and this is probably for you, Eze, about the employee at the front, ground level, their experience working with Hi Auto and how they're engaging and interacting with it?
Yeah, so the response has been really good because it took me some time to really understand what are the things that a regular staff experiences, right? So when you have many cars that are waiting in line to get service, and at the same time you are taking the order and preparing it and doing multitasking, doing just a lot of things, having the backup and the ability to have someone that takes the order while you are able to run the operations and reduce the stress in the kitchen, the response on that side has been overwhelming in a really positive way. Other piece of feedback that we did get is that there are some locations that do have not just drive through but also dine in, and so having someone that is able to, or a machine like our product that helps them to take the orders, also allows the same staff to take really good care of the people that actually are dining in, where before you would just have to be juggling. So in general, the staff that is working closely to our solution really likes it, and they enjoy with reduced stress. They can put focus on delivering more quality service and better quality food, if you may. So that's what we're seeing on the ground.
Yeah, and what a value add that is too, as you talk about the labor force being as thin as it's ever been, is if people are coming to work every day and they're not overly stressed and they're able to, specialize in whether it's the operational components and there's less friction because it's consistently being delivered and they're just, really specializing and executing their job. I think that's a huge value add. I mean, it's incredible, where you guys have taken this, and I think where the possibilities are endless. So where do you guys see yourselves? I know you talked about this is a starting point for you guys. Where do you guys see yourself in a year, 5 years, 10 years? Where do you guys see yourself? Where do you want to take this thing?
I think I just wanted to highlight what you just said. I think it's a really important point. Like I think that offloading pressure from employees is a key value for everyone. Maybe this should have been the first thing we should have said, because that's by itself during today's market is tremendously important to operators. So I just wanted to mention that. As far as like where do we see ourselves in 3, 5, 10 years? So I think we think about it in maybe a few dimensions. So the first dimension is, we just started. We are, still, we consider ourselves still in the crawling stage, and we still need to get to the walking before we run. So we have to, we are working on making our solution enterprise grade and making it, improving its stability, making sure that we are always consistent, and then scaling it really well. And I think that's really a focus for us right now. In 3 years, we would like to see us leading the automated order taking market, hopefully in, maybe, I don't know, over 10,000 locations on the drive-through side, potentially also in, starting to look at international markets as well. And that's that's a great business, but we feel like that's creating a baseline which opens a few things. One, it opens the ability to touch a lot of the orders that are going to the restaurant, understanding the conversation with the customer. But also, one thing that we're doing is we're also having a conversation with the employees at the restaurant. So employees can talk to Hi Auto. They can say, Hi Auto, we are out of mozzarella sticks. Hi Auto, we have mozzarella sticks. And Hi Auto understands that and is able to stop offering it to guests. This capability is actually a key in the next level of automation of restaurants. So when you look at, like, in 15 or 20 years from now, a restaurant is going to become like a vending machine, where you don't have employees and then potentially. But between, I don't know, 2 or 3 years from now and 15 or 20 years from now, there is going to be a stage where employees are going to be connected to the devices and to the data and are going to work together in order to create the next level of efficiency. So restaurants are trying to move from, let's say, having an average of 5 employees to having an average of like 3 employees with much less turnover, more loyal, getting paid more, and the rest sold by automation. And in order to do that, what Hi Auto is going to provide is it's going to provide the ability to speak with the employees and tell them what to do. And potentially other technologies like Vision AI would look at the restaurant, see what needs to be done and whether it was done. So through conversational AI, that's the only way to communicate with employees, because their hands are used, their sight is also, they are looking at what they are doing. So the only way is to really communicate with them is through this through voice. And so Hi Auto is looking to be to play a key part in kitchen management. We see that as the next frontier, and helping restaurants automate much further their operations and provide a much more consistent service. The key value is going to be that it's going to change the way that the manager's role is going to look like. A manager will not need to monitor the restaurant anymore. They will still need to do recruiting, they'll still need to do other managerial tasks, but monitoring can be done by AI.
Yeah, man, you've answered a lot of the questions that I had written down here, which is great. So as you guys, as from us as a company that goes out and deploys technology on a daily basis, I think an area where we add a lot of value is we talk to the end users, whether it's checkers and rallies or whoever it happens to be, and we hear what their pain points are. And I mean, everything that you just mentioned is consistently across every brand we work with today. Tell us about, we know what their challenges are. Tell us about some of your challenges and some of the things that you guys have had to overcome, or obstacles that have been particularly taxing for you guys as you guys have started to deploy this.
As you want to talk about some of the scaling challenges?
Absolutely. I think the scaling challenges are, I would put them really at the top. I mean, but when we talk about scaling, we're talking about scaling in multiple areas. Like, okay, so how do we get that solution to whatever it needs to be, right? To each of the locations that it needs to be. How do we make sure that there's consistent service on the installation side? How do we improve that process? But also, what needs to happen from a software perspective as well, right? There's also challenges that we have to cope with scaling on that front. So as you can imagine, the growing pains are there, but we came a long way since we started, and every day we're developing the right tools and muscle that are going to take us basically to the next level.
Yeah, and I think that muscle memory thing and the repeatable processes is the core of our business here at CUSI, and it's really important. And I think that's why we love brands that are like you, because we've experienced a lot of the same growing pains and challenges, whether it's with other tech partners or with there's folks like yourself, or internally here. We understand what those challenges look like, and we're always evolving to be better ourselves. Can you tell us a little bit about what your relationship with CUSI is and how that works?
Um, yeah, sure. I think whenever we were starting to look for solutions to grow and try to starting to meet our business commitments to grow, one of the key things when we started engaging a few partners was to really look at this as a partnership. I mean, that sounds like really cliche, but it is what it is. You want to make sure that you are picking someone that understands what you want to do, that is a partner that you can go kind of all the way, as opposed to then okay, we'll do a job and then we'll change. No, you just want to make sure that you're picking the right people. And one of the things that we found, in working with CUSITech is that there's just great people all around, right? Ultimately, we're trying to do something together, which is super tough. And at the other side, whenever we have to do more work together, or set up a new job, or set up like new rollouts, new plans, or even when we have to deal with issues, right? They happen, so there's no point in hiding. Ultimately, there's people on the other side, and I think that you guys have a very good team with a lot of people. I think I I've been dealing with I don't know, Melissa, and with Mina, with you, with Carl, Ashley. Like, there's just a ton of people, with Brand. I mean, I'm just naming people all around, and I think that it's that kind of closeness and relationship that makes it all work and overcome any kind of challenges we have.
So just to add to what Eze said, uh, what we are our installations are not easy, and they are complex. They involve mounting a device to the wall, sometimes in a very tricky kitchen environment, while the restaurant continues to work, and you have like people under you running around, and sometimes you need to solve for like an Ethernet wiring that goes 50 feet into the back office, and then you have to understand the HME system, or and how to connect to it, and then you have to run testing and deal with internet issues. So you have to deal with a lot of different things, and and the issue is that we have to do it in different states. And so we can have like one day, one night where we are installing in like I don't know how many states can we install in one night, like 5 different states. So I think what's impressive to me in what CUSI is able to do is to um, to a great extent. It's not perfect, and but to a great extent standardize the ability to install in different areas, different states, also adjust to our volume needs, which is also really important. They change. Sometimes we need to expand very quickly. Sometimes we need to take a breath. So I think this is very impressive.
Yeah, no, we appreciate the feedback, and we feel equally as strong about this partnership. And you guys talked about how you're crawling. I don't know if I would call it crawling, but I would think you guys are going a little bit faster than that. And I know you will be sprinting soon. I think something we appreciate is you guys do fully understand where you're at in the evolution of this product, and where you're going to take it, and the patience. Because I said there's a lot of challenges that we run into in the field, and you guys are very patient because you understand, like, hey, not every restaurant, even within the same brand, there's going to be challenges, because, the facilities themselves pose their own challenges, and being able to work with us and, keep that dialogue open is great. We've seen a lot of times in the past where people will come in and they're like, hey, we need this done the right way right away. And they don't understand that there's a lot of environmental challenges to overcome. And so, your patience and understanding of that, I think that's helping the overall success. And, it really leads to this, like, truly being a partnership. So we really appreciate that, as well. Um, do you guys, and I remember how this happened, but do you guys remember how we got introduced and how we met?
I do. We got a recommendation from Checkers, from the Checkers team, who was we were working with them initially, and we were working with them. So that's where the first recommendation came up, and then we immediately get in touch.
Yeah. Yeah, I think too, it's to that point. I remember someone sending me internally here said, "Hey Ryan, check out this article, this cool stuff that Checkers and Rallies is doing." And we're always sending articles back and forth. It's never ending here. And like, look at this new technology. This is really cool. And I instantly reached out to Mary over at Checkers, and I was like, "I got to meet these guys. Can you make an introduction?" And she did. And we were just really excited, and it was a natural, candid conversation. And as we look at partnerships, it's we want to grow with you, and we've talked about that, and so we want to make sure, like, as you guys develop this great technology and it continues to evolve, is to help you guys get exposure. Can you talk a little bit about what you see the future looking like and how we can continue to grow this relationship?
I think from my perspective, our needs are going to continue and expand over the next, like we see the immediate, 2 years, and we went from doing a few stores to doing dozens of stores to now doing hundreds of stores, and I hope, and we're pretty confident that it's going to become thousands of stores over the next year and a little bit from now, and so we definitely are looking to see how we can continue and optimize the service and make it such that first of all it continues to provide a good customer experience for the operators, because at the end of the day you come in for a complex installation, someone is spending a few hours at the restaurant in the middle of their workday, and so we need to continue and optimize that and make it just like we optimize every other aspect of our business. We need to optimize this aspect of our business, and I think we look at you as a partner that is almost like a development partner, and I think Carl, that has been like our technical counterpart, has been doing a very good job in gaining knowledge and understanding and keeping all these lessons, and we have actually learned a lot from you guys, but I think this is like we would want to see this getting optimized and perfecting the installation experience. Also on the servicing side, this is something that also we need to evolve with, and yeah, and potentially other things that I think may come up over the near future.
Yeah, no, that's really exciting. Ezzy, do you have anything to add to that?
No, not particularly. I think that everything that Roy said is right. We're really excited to where we got, and we're really even more excited to where we're going to be. So nothing to add.
Yeah, no, yeah, and we're excited to continue to grow this thing with you guys. And I think, where we love to add value and be part of that process is becoming a direct extension of your guys' team and representing the High Auto brand. As people say, hey, this is a world-class installation and it's gonna be a world-class solution beyond the installation component where it's, servicing the needs. Let's talk a little bit about what kind of feedback do you guys get from the consumer perspective, the people that are actually going through the drive-through. Our team had the opportunity to go through and drive through one of the drive-throughs here locally in Columbus, Ohio, yesterday and experience technology. It was really fun for us to go through and experience that. But tell me a little bit about some of the feedback from the consumer perspective you guys are getting.
What feedback did they get?
No, so they went through 3 times, and you talked about that upselling, and what they were really impressed about is the upsell on each time was different, and it was so the first time they went through, and it was the was it Cookie Monster brownie combo at Rallies and Checkers, and the mozzarella sticks, and then the next times they said, hey, would you want to make this a value meal? So each time it was different, so it's consistency, but I think it's a volume game, and it's trying to increase that ring per throughput is what Rally's overall goal was. So they were really impressed that each time they went through, and they ordered the same thing every time. It was a big Buford. I think a lot of our guys in the office enjoyed eating those burgers yesterday afternoon after we went through and did this. But I think they were really pretty excited about what this does over and not beyond what it was. It's more than just functional. It is helps expand business and grow the business.
Right. I think the feedback we're getting from, like, we are hearing about guests' experience. I think most guests are either happy with it. So first of all, we need to start that the alternative is not great. Like, if you look at the drive-through reviews on Google, you don't see customers typically like super happy and saying, "Oh my God, I got this amazing service. I couldn't stop myself and then put here a great review." Typically, that's not the case. So customers are picky in how they want to be treated. I think most customers are happy with it, or they understand that to get service fast and consistent, it's this is a great step. Also, they learn how to work with the system, so they already start to understand, like, okay, now I'm going to get the upsell. Now I'm going, like, and they know when to answer, when to stop, when it works. Like, some of these customers are becoming very, very, like, almost, they're just becoming a perfect match to the system. And then there are always one, two a day that are get rid of this robot. Why are you taking people's jobs and stuff like that? But I think the answer of we have one of our franchisees, when people are telling him, why are you putting robot and taking people's job away, saying, like, just send these people that are saying that to me. I'd like for them to work for me at the restaurant, because I'm looking, I have some openings that I need to fill.
Right. Yeah, and we work with a lot of technology companies, and I remember 10 years ago in the when they started doing the self checkout kiosk in the grocery stores, and people had the same feedback. And we had a grocer that we work with closely, and they literally put help wanted signs on the side of the self checkout so people know, like, hey, we don't have people to do this. And then so a time went through, and they took the self checkouts out, and then a month later, people were saying, where'd the self checkouts go? So it is challenging to appease everybody. And like I said, technology comes with its own challenges. But I mean, I think as things continue to evolve and everything, it's going to become it's the normal. There's no turning back now. I think uh, COVID and Corona and all of the shutdown, it hit the accelerator. I think things that were 5 and 10 years out are they're here today. So it's really exciting for that. Um, as you've gone through all this process and everything, what are some things that you guys wish you would have known about before you started doing all of this? Some things that you've overcome and valuable lessons learned that you've had. What are some things that you wish you would have known before you started?
Where do we start? I think to name a few. I think that whenever you're looking at the restaurant landscape, at least from someone like me who's not necessarily coming from the industry, you also learn that there are differences between uh, geographical area, but also between what franchisee stores and also corporate stores. There are very very clear differences, and there's also the fact that which is quite interesting, which is every store, no matter what, every store is special, right? Every store, they have something really special going on, and they have the best way of dealing with this. I think that those are some lessons that you know, some of them we learn, others we're trying to learn, and in that respect, it's just endless. I mean, I could also tell you about some of the logistical challenges, right? There's the supply chain problems that we've been experiencing worldwide for the past couple of years. They haven't they haven't gone anywhere. They're still there. So I think that this process of developing this scale muscle, it comes with kind of learnings every day on pretty much every front imaginable.
Yeah, Roy, do you have anything to add to that?
I think I discovered a few things. So first of all, I think it's great that you don't know what's coming, because we are like very optimistic in our nature, and if we would have known all the problems that we are going to face, maybe we would have been much more cautious, and then we wouldn't be where we are right now. So sometimes it's good not to know. Um, I think I think what we found is that we're very humble in terms of like what we don't know, and the people we've met during this process are just really incredible. We learn to appreciate them a lot. The Checkers team that has really guided us through this process, pretty much explained to us like what do we need to do to scale and plan, and if it's Mary Melvin and Min, the CIO, that really amazing. And I think we learned through this process to understand how much wisdom and knowledge and experience they have. I think we had amazing partners, and we still have amazing partners at Lee's Famous Recipe that really gave us initially the initial vote of confidence that allowed us to start this journey. And then I think we learned a lot from CUSI. I think you guys taught us a lot as well. Carl has been amazing, and I think what I learned from you guys, and I think what I would we would change definitely in the future. I think we haven't realized all the hidden cost in providing this service. If it's like the revisits, if it's the additional hours, if it's sometimes customizations. My God, especially as we get to franchisees. I think Eze and I had this conversation internally. Now we are facing this challenge is that each franchisee in general accepts the consistency of the system, but they want just one small thing, and one small thing compared to everything is really small. But when you have a lot of franchisees, this piles up, and it's also something that we are trying to see how we address. So I think these are some of my learnings.
Yeah. Something that you guys both said there was, the customizable thing. I think as you phrased it as each place has its own specialness, as you will, which I think is, you're saying the same thing. And if these are challenges, something that I think is really admirable being on the weekly calls with you all is your ability to gain that muscle. And each week you guys are getting stronger, and we're figuring out processes together. And that's truly what a partnership's about, is understanding, hey, what are we accomplishing, and going into each week and understanding, hey, we're going to be looking at these unique restaurants that have all their own challenges. And so I think that, it's been really refreshing to us to see you guys evolving. We've worked with people in the past where they just do the same thing week in and week out and expect different results. And you think about, you mentioned, there being, 30 things can add up really quickly. Well, I think each week you're seeing those 30 things are changing, and you guys are creating a strategy, and we're communicating and building a strategy together that helps us address those things, so we're more agile and nimble in the field, and can continue to deploy this and scale this thing. So we're really excited about that. That's all I've got for today. Do you guys have any final remarks or anything you'd like to say?
I think we're very happy to to do this interview. We love this partnership, and then I think we're looking forward to continue the success together.
Yeah, we are as well. So we look forward to that, and looking forward to helping you guys get some more exposure, and excited to see where this goes. We appreciate you guys tremendously.